Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of the Fishing Teacher, and really appreciate you guys swinging by the channel to check out today's episode. And guys, today we're going to be talking about two simple, effective techniques that you can utilize to consistently catch bigger fish. One of the big things about bass fishing that separates the success level, or how you define how good an angler is how much they consistently catch bigger fish than everybody else. That's just the metric everybody goes by. And there's a lot of different stuff you can do, but I got two simple tips that I want to really go over today that if you implement and utilize these tips, I'm very confident that you're going to start seeing an incremental success in the size of the fish you catch over the coming years. So we're going to get into that in today's video. Also, guys, quick invitation, anybody interested in becoming a channel member here at the Fishing Teacher, it's a good way to support the channel. Just go into my homepage and click the membership or the join button for information there. And also, guys, anybody interested in booking an on-the-water lesson with me, all you have to do is go to my Facebook page, Randy Blaukat Professional Angler, and shoot me a private message for details, and I'll get you guys lined up there. So really appreciate that. Okay, everybody wants to catch bigger ones, man. It's like there's sort of like two different camps out there. Some people like to catch a lot of fish, like to get a lot of bites, and other people like to catch big ones. There's nothing more special than catching a big bass, because big bass are rare. It's like, guys, do you realize how many obstacles that a bass has to go to get really big, like 7 or 8 pounds? They are 1 in a million, depending upon what part of the country you're in. And unless you fish like in California, Florida, or Texas, you're not going to catch many big ones. You know, big ones those are the 3 states where the majority of the big fish are caught. So a 7 or 8 pounder is pretty rare anywhere else overall for the most part. But there's 2 things that I want to talk about today that can really increase the size of your fish more than anything else. And I think it's going to surprise everybody quite a bit. Number one, it's like a lot of people think that in order to catch a big bass, you have to use a big lure. And there is some truth to that. But what happens is the bigger lure that you use, your odds of catching bass, period, go down. It's like bass are reluctant to hit big lures. They are. Big glide baits, big swim baits, big lures don't get many bites. So a lot of times it's not even worth it to throw those really big lures, because the reward versus the time you fish it is just not there. There's 2 baits that are going to consistently catch you bigger fish if you throw them, but they're not 2 baits that are going to take away a bunch of bites from you. The 2 baits that you want to use more than anything else to catch big ones is a full-size jig, you know, like my Blaukat Throwback jig with some type of a big chunk on it. That's the number one, followed up by a big bladed spinnerbait. Those are the 2 most consistent big bass producers that give you the best odds of getting bit and catching big ones at the same time. It's like if you throw a big spinnerbait and a jig, you may catch, if you throw them a lot during the course of the year, say if you catch 100 bass throughout the course of the year on those 2 lures, versus if you try to fish like a big giant swim bait or glide bait, you may only catch 2 or 3 of those bass. So that's most all the big ones I've caught. It's like the vast majority of the bass I have caught over 7 pounds have come on a big jig or a big spinnerbait. So that's the number one thing. In correlation with that, it's where you fish that. In order to catch big ones, you have to fish where those big ones live. Big bass live in 2 primary type of areas. They live in and around heavy cover, or they live in areas that have some proximity to deeper water, some deeper water access. And if you have both, that's even better. If you've got heavy cover next to deep water access, that is it's probably the number one prime big bass habitat. It could be a grass bed, it could be lily pads, it could be lay down trees, it could be, you know, docks or whatever. But those type of structures that have deep water access to them are where most of those bass are going to come. So if you concentrate your efforts, and I know this is hard to do, you can't do it all the time, but if you really focus on making a 3/4 ounce and a 1 ounce spinnerbait with a number 6 or number 7 willow leaf blade on it, and the full-size jig, usually black and blue. Black and blues will catch more big ones than anyone, like a full-size black and blue jig with like that Zoom big salty chunk. That's my favorite. If you fish those 2 baits and keep yourself in that type of water where you got heavy cover with access to deep water, you're going to catch some good ones with that, especially if you fish them at the right time of year. The best time of year for that, and by far the best time of year to catch a big fish, period, is during the pre-spawn time of the year. Most all the big fish that I've caught have come when the water temperature is either in the 50s in the pre-spawn time of the year, or later again in the fall time of the year, or in the early summer when those fish are schooled up like on ledges. But by far, guys, a big spinner bait and a big jig, 50-some degree water in the pre-spawn time of the year, next to heavy cover, next to deep water, is going to get you some good fish out there. So that's a realistic approach to it. Now, if you want to just swing for the fences, yeah, you can put a big 8 or 10 inch glide bait or swim bait on and throw it around, but you're not going to catch many on it. You're really not. Even if you're in an area that's got big ones in it, they're going to be few and far between. But with the big jig and the big spinner bait, you're going to get some bites from smaller fish, in between fish, and it'll attract big ones too. So anyway, guys, hope it helps out. We'll talk later.